Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Kevin here, top 1 financial advisor and best-selling author. We are here to talk about the stock market. Hey, today is a special day. My son turns 4 years old, and at 4 on this day, he has more money than I had at 22 when I finished college. He's already been featured in the New York Times, and he's been featured in Business Insider. So no, that is not his sister that is in the beginning of the video, but you may know him from this article in Business Insider. So today I'm going to break down what is in his portfolio, what are the accounts that we have for him, to kind of give you an idea of how we're looking to build generational wealth for him. He has a 529 account that is primarily for college expenses. Right now it's more education expenses, but primarily college is the big expense. That's what we're saving for and investing for rather there. There are benefits, pros and cons to every investment account, but definitely for 529s it's primarily for education, meaning that we can invest on his behalf and pay for school without paying any taxes on any of the growth. That is what it is built for. Now, if you take that money and use it for something that's not educational expenses, then you could be running into some trouble there. We can do an entire video on the pros and cons of it. The good thing, which a lot of people always bring up, is, well, what if my kid doesn't go to school? What if he gets a scholarship? What if we don't need it by that point in time? You can actually transfer it to anybody you want to. So it can still be used for education should you choose to do so. But that's one thing. I think we put almost $100, $150 a month, whatever it is. It's more money than I had when I went to college. So we go ahead and do that. You cannot own individual stocks inside of a 529, at least as of today. It invests in its own mutual fund, and it does what it does. All you gotta do is deposit your money, and Fidelity or Vanguard or wherever you have it is gonna take care of the rest. That's number one. Number two, we do have a savings account for them. I don't put much in it because I'm more focused on the investing and giving him the time. I have these for both of the kids, but really giving him the benefit of compound interest and giving that more time. Right now, your savings account, my savings account, while it will increase because the Fed is increasing rates, it ain't gonna be much. And I can save $100 a month from now to the time he's 18 or 16 if he wants to buy a car or whatever. It's not gonna be much. It'll be more than what I had. Again, anything would be more than what I had, but I'd rather invest it and really see some growth there. I'll kind of go over some numbers that we currently have. So it does have a savings account. I put very, very little there. I would be surprised if it's more than $50 a month. That I don't think it's that much, but again, I don't pay attention to it, but he does have it in case we need to pull for something that he needs, maybe soccer practice down the line, maybe golf clubs or something down the line, that we can kind of pull from there without, you know, selling Apple stock or something like that, that we want to continue to grow for him. All right, so 529 savings, and then we have the custodial account. That is what we'll go over here. Custodial account is essentially an investing account that you, the parent, has on the behalf of your child. When they turn 18, 21, in some states, that becomes their money. Yes, there are benefits and risks to that. You got to keep your kid in line. Now, my kid is only 4, and I've got a lot of training to do, so I plan on, you know, being on top of it, teaching him how to invest, starting now that he kind of understands numbers and ticker symbols and letters now, right? But having him in a place where having what I hope to be hundreds of thousands of dollars, but at least tens of thousands of dollars at the very minimum, having him at a point where it's not going to be a shock. It's not going to be something where he just blows everything on the nicest whatever. That's a risk. Now, as a former financial advisor, I never, ever had that happen. And usually it was because parents were in my office with their child very, very young. This is not going to be a windfall for him where at 18, boom, this becomes, all this money. I've known about this for a while. He is invested in the process of investing, and he's co-creating. He is co-investment planning, co-portfolio planning, if you will, with me and his mom and his sister. So it's something he's doing. It's not something that just, oh look, money fell in my lap, because that's where you get a lot of issues. At least that's where I've seen you run into a lot of issues when it comes to building generational wealth. So inside of his account right now, he has, looks like 10 holdings. I'll go over what those are, but then what are the rules of this account as well. So in this account, the rules, the strategies, the way that I go through it, very similarly as what I tell y'all the way I manage my investments is very similar to the way I manage my kids' investments, in that I'm only really coming in and checking this twice a year. While I do DCA weekly on public, and obviously, I've got money going to my accounts every 2 weeks when I decide to pay myself and stuff like that, I don't do it as much here. I'm a little more hands off. So he gets money. I think it's, I don't know, $100 or so every month. This is not including what, I don't know, uncle or grandparents may send for his birthday. I gotta see if he got any birthday cards, if people still do that. So he may get some, $50 here or there from somebody, and we'll deposit that into this account as well. Again, this cash will build up. Every now and then I'll go and dollar cost average, but really in June is when I go through and make those changes. I'm a lot more hands off here because he has way more time for the market to recover. Should the market be down, he has way more time to make mistakes. And already, let's say if there was a stock market crash, I invested in one thing that was terrible, then again, he's still gonna have more money than what I had when I started. As of right now, I think he's well over $7,000. Hopefully we can get to 10 this year. We'll see how the market goes. But again, more than what I had. So he's already ahead of the game. So what are we investing in and why? So I got Apple here. That's no surprise. Actually, the majority of his portfolio, looks like 20% is in Apple. He's up 126% in Apple as well. I'm not really changing that as much because, again, he can take on more risk than I can. Generally, my rule is you don't want to have more than about 5% in any one stock. He can take on more risk. He's 4. He'll be fine. And Apple has done him quite well. Now, if Apple were to crash all of a sudden, obviously, I'd be on that, right? But Apple's fine. Apple's one of my long-term stocks. Y'all know this. We've talked about this before. 20% of his portfolio is in Apple. If you look at Warren Buffett's portfolio, I think his is even worse, quote unquote, where he has like more than 40%, if I remember correctly, in Apple. So it ain't the worst thing I've ever seen. Again, is it really that bad if it's up 126%? You can juggle that one there. But he does have Apple. The next here is Adobe. He's up about 4% all time. So the entirety of his of the time that he's gotten into the stock. He hasn't had Adobe since birth. He has had Apple, I believe. I believe he's had Apple since birth. But from the time he's had Adobe, he's up 4.27% there. He does own Berkshire Hathaway, which is owned by Warren Buffett, or ran by Warren Buffett rather. Which is a good move. It was a good move. He's up 25%. This was something I believe we picked up. I'll have to go back and check the video as well, but feel free to do so too, because I did a video about what we were going to put into the kids' portfolios. But this one I'm sure we picked up last year. It's already up 25%, which is great. Picked up Google. We picked up Google late. I really don't know why I didn't do it sooner. I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. It could have been that I know Fidelity, which is where we have it, I know Fidelity added fractional shares within the last 2 years or so. So maybe when he started, because he's 4 now, right? Maybe when we started, they didn't have it, and Google at that time was quite expensive. They are doing a stock split, so that will change things here. But he does own it. He's down 6.29%. I'm not worried about that. He did invest in it relatively late here. Next is ticker symbol ITOT. This is a total stock market fund by iShares, if I'm not mistaken. I talk about index funds all the time. This one has 17%. So 17% of his money is inside of this particular ETF. The other stocks I mentioned, Adobe, Berkshire, Google, they're right in between 6 and 7% apiece. So those are a lot more even. As the longer he does this, the longer he invests, these numbers will kind of change naturally, in that, if the stock is up 126%, you're obviously going to have more than 7%, right? So that's going to be a part of it too. So we talked about Berkshire Hathaway, Adobe, Google, ITOT. Again, that's an index fund. I believe in index funds. I got them for myself. I definitely have them for my kids. That's his second biggest holding at 17% as of today. Next here is JP Morgan. He is down 9.7% on JP Morgan. We'll see where JPM, that's the ticker symbol for it. We'll see what JP Morgan does this year. I'm still expecting JP Morgan and other stocks to do well, other financial stocks to do well this year. We'll see. But he's down 9.7% there. Nike's been up and down for him. At one point, it was the best stock he's had. Now it's kind of medium. He's up 11.6% here. He has about 12% in this stock as well. This is one of the companies he's had for the longest. I know he's had Apple almost since birth. I'm pretty sure he's had Nike since then too. Why did I invest in Nike? Kids like Nike. Eventually, kids like Nike. So I decided to get it now. And then when I start to introduce him more, he'll kind of fall in love with it, and maybe he'll pick up a Disney or what have you at that point in time. Y'all know how I feel about Disney now. but that's a story for another day. All right, next here is Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble is what we call a conglomerate, especially in the, forget the word I'm looking for. They're definitely more of a defensive stock. They do pay dividends, but they are in the consumer packaged goods. They make a whole lot of stuff. Procter & Gamble is actually doing quite well in the last, I would say, 2 weeks or so. We may want to do a breakdown or something there. He is up 11.55% here, and it only makes up about almost 2%, 1.52% of his portfolio. So with the cash that we have in this account, I'm probably going to invest some more there to kind of even things out and get more growth going inside of Procter & Gamble. One of the reasons I wanted to get this stock is because, one, it was defensive. At the time that I made this investment, we weren't really sure what was going to happen in 2022, but I could obviously take some more money and put some more into Procter & Gamble. Probably do that later today. proudest is an ETF that I now invest in because he got it very early. He is up 80% in proudest. That is an ETF that is based on logistics, warehouses, things of that nature. Again, he's up 80%. This makes up 12% of his portfolio. And then the last one here is Thermo Fisher, a company we have talked about in the past. Thermo Fisher is down 11.73% as of today in his portfolio, which gives him a 6% allocation. And then overall, he is up 27%, which ain't that bad. So here's the thing that you may want to know. So yes, this portfolio is geared to be more risky. I'm doing that on purpose. It is not the most organized portfolio in terms of everything is at 10% or close to it. Everything is at 5% or close to it. I am intentionally leaving Apple alone. Okay, I'm really not going to mess with Apple. I'm definitely not going to sell or adjust anything inside of that ETF, the ITOT. I'm leaving that alone. In fact, the money that he has in the account is only $200. I'm probably going to put more in Procter & Gamble. I'm definitely going to put more into the index fund. We'll see if I add more to Apple or not. He definitely has enough. But it's not a, this is a perfect portfolio, right? I'm not trying to be a perfect parent here, even though I try to do what I can. But perfection is not the goal. The goal here is to start him off better than where I started off, which he's already done that, and to give him companies that that will continue to grow, at least we think, based on what we have today, to continue to grow. Come June, I'll come back and reevaluate and see what small tweaks needs to be made. We'll see if we keep Thermo Fisher. Like, these are the stocks I'm looking at right now. Google I'm keeping, even though it's down. JP Morgan, we'll see. Thermo Fisher, we'll see. Everything else is green. That's 3 out of 10. I'll take that. And again, overall, as of today, he's up 27%. So again, I'll take that. Nothing to be ashamed of. Not everyone is going to be perfect anyway. So this is what he's going to hold. Nothing's going to change except for the allocation amounts, because we're going to continue investing in some of these. And we'll come back in June, see what things we want to tweak, if anything, at that point in time. Because what I know right now in March is not what I'm going to know in June. There's 3 more months of learning to do and adjusting and thinking to do before we get to that phase. So that is it. That is what he currently owns today. As this grows and evolves and change, in June we may talk about what things change here, as well as my own account and what you may see me do on public. But again, the process is passive, long-term investing. I don't make a whole bunch of changes in the kids' account. I don't make a whole bunch of changes in my own, but I definitely don't make that many changes in the kids' accounts, because they have more times for things to ebb and flow, for things to recover. If they owned a PayPal or something, which they did, and I ended up getting out of it because it crashed so bad, they could be okay holding it because they've got 20 years, right, and be fine. Whereas 20 years for me, it's about time to retire. At least I feel like it. So they're going to be fine. They have long-term viability, and I invest in companies that I feel have the most long-term potential, which is right now, we got what we got. All right, if you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. I'll put that article from Business Insider in the description below as well. The rest of this week, we'll see what happens. I know there's someone asking me a question about if it makes sense to invest in international stocks. I have a very interesting take on that. I want to do that video this week, so hopefully the market is normal, so that I can do that. We don't have any crazy news for me to cover. So I do want to do that, and I've got some other things in store. If there are any other things that you want me to cover and discuss and break down, feel free to put that in the comments below. All right, that's it for me. Talk to y'all later.